here at the XWiki headquarters together with Guillaume Lerouge. Just tell us again who you are and what XWiki is doing.
Okay, so I'm Guillaume Lerouge, I'm the sales guy at XWiki. I've been here for about 5 years. What XWiki does, what the aim we had when we started the company, was to bring wiki technology to the enterprise. And what we wanted to do is, our founder looked at the market, he was using XWiki internally at his company, and he felt like wikis are an opportunity. They can be used within the enterprise. But the state of wiki back then, it was back in 2003, it wasn't good enough to be used at bigger companies, and he felt like there were some missing links, some missing features that were absolutely needed for wikis to take hold within companies. So when he started XWiki, his aim was to create a wiki geared toward the enterprise, which would be easier to use than existing solutions, and which would allow easy structuration of data inside the wiki. In most wikis, what you have is you have blank pages, and you can create links between those pages, and you can have content templates. On the other side of the market, you have CMSs, where you can build content pages, template pages, but it's tougher to add blank pages and unstructured information. And what we wanted to do was to bridge the gap between those unstructured wikis and CMSs. And XWiki is built on this. It's the extensible wiki, so we can have both unstructured information, blank wiki pages, and template pages with forms that allow us to structure information and make it easier to find, easier to extract, and easier to use.
You stated already the former days of the wiki area, so where do we stand in terms of the usage of wikis within the enterprise?
So a wiki within the enterprise, they can be used for so many things. It's tough to make a list of all the things they can be used for. It can be a simple knowledge base, it can be for project management, it can be for listing procedures, it can be for listing contracts, for listing products, basically for listing any kind of information. And what we see is that people usually start with a simple knowledge base. They want to create articles, they want to create an inside encyclopedia, a bit like Wikipedia, for instance. It's one of the main drivers of wiki usage, that people are like, oh, we want to build something like Wikipedia but inside the company. And what we see is that they start with this vision and they add some content, and they find out that it would be better if we could classify content and distinguish between those pages and those pages, and we have those contracts and we want them to have specific information and specific data, and they start creating content templates. And they update the template, so when you create new pages, you have the same version of the page, and then at one point they're like, we want to update the template. And when you do this in a classic wiki, you have to update the template, but you also have to update all of the existing pages to adapt them to that template. And what we see is that companies are like, okay, why can we not create a basic template, and when we update it, it automatically updates all the existing instances of this template. And that's what XWiki allows them to do. So we see companies that start from this simple vision that we need to have a place where we put knowledge and information, and we want to move towards structuration. And so, because XWiki is open source software, usually when enterprises use it as a basic wiki, so do not necessarily come to us and ask us about it. But when they move towards, oh, we want to do this and we want to adapt the wiki and add structuration, they come to us, and the projects we see are those where there was already some thinking, some reflection within the company, and they want to move toward more structured information. And it can be many kinds of information. At some companies, it's information related to the IT department, related to projects, to how much time do which people work on which projects. At some other companies, it can be a database of the applications they use internally, so they want to build a list of all those applications, and each application has a purpose, has a description, has an SLA, and so you have to find ways to store all of this specific information in the wiki.
So, but in the end, the usage of wiki is still focused on the collection of knowledge and the retaining of knowledge.
Yeah, I say it's one of the two main areas for which you can use a wiki for. You have this part, which is very important, the knowledge-based part. What we also see is people who want to work together on documents. So for instance, let's say we're working on a sales proposal, and I'm going to write the first version, and I want someone to review it. And so instead of sending him or her, sending that person a Word file or a Word document, I can simply share the link with them, and they can go to the page, edit it, update it. They can also add annotations to the page. So instead of modifying it, if you want to keep control of that, they can simply select some text, annotate it, until the comment is contextual to the text. And so all this part, the collaborative work part, is also one of the main use of the wiki. So you have those two things: knowledge sharing, storing knowledge and making it easier to find, and then working together on documents and information.
But still, I'm a friend of distinguishing different approaches within the social software sphere. Mm-hmm. And we always say that social software is for dynamic content. So it's for the content that changes within the company. Mm-hmm. But here, wikis, you still have to distinguish. It's more static information. It's still dynamic, and it's more dynamic than any content that has been placed into content management system, but it's more static than, for example, social messaging. So you still are in the middle, somewhere between those information that will be placed as a static information within the content management side, maybe, and on the other hand, really flowing information and conversations within the social messaging. So.
Yeah, well, indeed, you are the crossroad of those two type of software. It's not only for archiving purposes. Clearly the information still lives, but it's not going to go as fast as some information on a forum, for instance. What we see is that depending on the customers and the users, they can flow a bit both ways. Some of them want to have more static information, more information that is updated less frequently, and the main issue is how do people access it quickly. And for other customers, they want to implement like ticketing systems or forum systems as part of the wiki, and in those cases, information flows a bit more freely, more quickly, and you also have status updates, profiles updates. So it also depends on the wiki itself. Technology can accommodate both use cases, but depending on customers, they choose to use mostly one part or more the other. And we have some customers who do both on top of the wiki. We have one customer who started with a knowledge base of contracts, and they stored 800 contracts so that people can find them easily and review them. But then they want to also move towards communities and more social features, having a user directory which is more dynamic, letting people express themselves, and they still use the platform on a feature we called XWiki Enterprise Manager, so to create a wiki farm and being able to create new wikis easily. And they want to use this for the social part of the project. So you can do both with the wiki.
That's interesting, because there we reach the question, who is taking the lead in the future social technology stack? Now a lot of projects are coming into the maturity stage, and they have to think about integration, so that you don't have those single silos again also in this social software sphere.
Yeah.
So who's taking the lead? Is the wiki technology also in general, not only XWiki, is the wiki technology already ready to taking the lead also as the integrative part? Because as you said, well, XWiki is designed as to be an infrastructure where you can also do some social messaging on top within the infrastructure. Is this already general for the wiki technology sphere, or is it just one part of the social stack, which is the best of breed solution that will be integrated in other frameworks?
I would say it depends a lot on the size of the company using the software. For smaller companies, like up to 2,000-3,000 people, and we have those within our customers, they can use the wiki as their internal portal and use it for all their internal needs, like internal intranet and communities and social software and knowledge bases. And so they can use the wiki at the internal portal and use it for all the requirements. Then when you look at bigger companies, it's much tougher to find a solution that does it all and does everything well. Because they have different needs, they have much more users, much more departments. And then you have, in that case, you have basically two possibilities. Either you go for something that does everything, that promises you can do anything and everything, something like SharePoint, for instance. And we see this a lot at very large companies that have SharePoint already because they have existing contracts with Microsoft. And so they use it and they use modules and they use it as a glue where they add everything. And so they build everything on top of that platform. And other companies are more like, we want the best of breed application for every use. And we use some kind of portal technology to bridge it all together. And for instance, we work with the CNS, which is a large French company. Mm-hmm. And what they have internally is they have Liferay as a portal solution that bridges everything. And within this, they add other components, such as Alfresco for document management, XWiki for the wiki part, to answer the specific needs. So we see both approaches within companies.
Mm-hmm. So, but would you say that we could distinguish the markets? Maybe the bigger companies, they turn over to commercial framework suites that integrate everything in one solution, and the mid-market is more or less on the best of breed approach?
Well, no, I don't think it's segmented at this in that way. It's more like some large companies will only go for commercial software. That's still the case today. Some others are more of an open source, have more of an open source philosophy. Less of them clearly today, but they want to find the right piece of open source software for each of their needs, so they implement this. And for mid-market companies, it's more like, can they find one solution that fits all their needs or not? And it matters. It doesn't matter that much whether it's commercial, whether it's open source. Some of our customers, they do not care that much that we are an open source software company. It's more like, does the solution fit our needs? And if so, how do we implement it? The vision towards only commercial or only open source software, we see that mostly at larger companies. Smaller companies that do not have such a strategy, a global strategy. It's more like, what's the right solution for our needs right now? Bigger companies sometimes define a philosophy of using software. Sometimes it's only Microsoft software, sometimes it's only Java software, sometimes it's only open source software, and that we see at bigger companies.
Okay. So XWiki is, we are happy having XWiki as a supporter for the upcoming Enterprise 2.0 Summit here in Paris.
To be there.
What are you expecting for the conference?
Well, our aims when going to conferences, and especially this one, I'd say we're looking for visibility. We want to be there, to be seen, to be known. We're also looking for potential customers, for people who will be coming, looking at solutions, maybe who have ongoing projects and they're looking for a solution to build a project on. And it's also, we want to be part of the ecosystem and discussing with other companies and discussing with opinion leaders and thinkers about what's the future of collaboration, what we're moving towards, what are the trends. And it's very important to us to take part to this, to be involved in the community at large.
Great. Thank you for the interview.